Stop lying to yourself. The reason you hate being alone has nothing to do with loneliness. It's got everything to do with the person you see when the world goes quiet. That's the real truth. And we're about to have some straight-up real talk about it. You clicked on how to be happy alone because you're tired of running. You're tired of checking your phone every 2 minutes, filling the silence with meaningless noise, and feeling that cold, empty pit in your stomach the second your friends or your partner walk out the door. The competition. They'll give you some fluffy, love yourself mantra, some basic self-care tips. Nah, we're not doing that here. This isn't self-help. This is a blueprint for emotional dominance. This is how you level up your life, by learning the ultimate superpower. Thriving in your own silence. This is the secret every Havali individual knows, and it's the key to your independence. Society has been tripping. They sold you this soft, weak idea that happiness is a transaction. You get approval, you get status, you get the perfect relationship, then you're complete. No cap. That's a myth. That's how you end up dependent, needy, and scared to spend 5 minutes solo. You've been conditioned to be an emotional beggar, always looking for external handouts of validation. We are canceling that subscription today. The viral scripts understood one thing, but they didn't go deep enough. There's a massive gulf between lonely and alone. Lonely is a craving. It's a deficit. It's the feeling of being emotionally bankrupt. Alone is a choice. It's a presence of deep, conscious connection with yourself. It's a surplus. It's the feeling of having so much internal wealth that you can afford to sit back and observe the world. If you're drowning in loneliness right now, it's because you haven't faced the one critic who is always with you. You. That fear, that's the gold mine. We call this shadow work. We're trading validation for a higher kind of internal wealth. The next part is a gut check. We're going to expose the one self-sabotaging behavior you are executing right now that guarantees you will never be happy alone. Don't skip it. We establish the real talk. Your loneliness is just a signal that you're running from your own mind. Now, let's stop running and start building your foundation. This is internal domination. This is how you change your own company from a source of anxiety into a fortress of power. Before we start building, we need to address the fatal flaw I mentioned. You are protecting a false self. You are fighting to maintain an identity that was built for external approval. You're scared of being alone because if you are, who is there to confirm your success or your style? That false self is fragile, and it hates solitude because solitude exposes its weakness. The first step is brutal. You gotta figure out who the heck you are when no one's watching. Right now, your identity is probably patchwork. That is whack. The real you isn't there. Here's the identity audit. Ask yourself 2 simple, brutal questions right now. What activities or goals do I consume or participate in solely to impress other people? And what would I stop doing tomorrow if I knew I would never, ever have to explain it to anyone? The answers to those questions are your identity debt. You've been paying interest on a false self your entire life. That debt is draining your emotional reserves. You can't be happy alone until you are authentically you. Start cutting the debt. Start doing what you genuinely vibe with. That's the only way to build true self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of self-sufficiency. When you eliminate the crowd's influence, you eliminate 90% of your anxiety. Now, for the critical shift. Moving from maintenance mode to mission mode. The next part is all about becoming obsessed with your mission so that loneliness never gets a shot. The second step, stop seeking comfort, start seeking challenge. This is where the competition choked. They tell you to feel good. I'm telling you to get after it. The fastest, most reliable way to fall in love with your alone time is to turn it into your most productive time. You can't be lonely when you're obsessed with your mission. You start to view alone time not as empty space, but as a priceless, uninterrupted resource. When you're focused on mastering a skill, building a side hustle, or getting your mind and body right every second alone becomes valuable. It becomes your unfair advantage. You need to assign yourself a hero project, something that scares you, something that requires intense, deep focus, and something that, when completed, makes you feel like an absolute boss. The minute you shift your perspective from "I'm alone and sad" to "I'm alone and building something the world hasn't seen yet," everything changes. Loneliness doesn't stand a chance against purpose. It gets filtered out by the sheer force of your dedication. You become someone who can't afford distractions. This is not about being busy. This is about being productive on the things that matter to you. This focus, this commitment to a difficult challenge, it rewires your brain. It stops the obsessive loop of social comparison and gives you an internal scoreboard to focus on. But what happens when that mission requires you to put yourself out there and you get rejected? If you crumble, all this solitude means nothing. The fortress falls apart. We need to install the final piece of armor. How to become absolutely bulletproof to rejection. And after that, we're discussing the power of high-value boredom and why doing nothing is the secret to getting everything. We've audited the self. We've defined the mission. Now we need the armor. Because if your happiness is still fragile, it can be ruined by a simple no, then you haven't truly mastered solitude. You've just found a quiet place to hide. The third step, master the pain of rejection. Every viral script on this topic chickens out on this. But here's the unvarnished truth, and why it's the real change agent. You will not be happy alone until you are bulletproof against rejection. The deepest, darkest fear of being alone isn't a fear of being without people. It's a fear that if you put yourself out there and get rejected, you won't have a safety net. This fear keeps you small. Here's the killer move. You have to start viewing rejection as a data point, not a personal verdict. Get rejected on purpose. Ask for the raise, knowing they might say no. When you do these things alone and the answer is no, you learn in real time that the rejection doesn't kill you. It just redirects you. When you internalize this lesson, when you understand that the worst scenario doesn't threaten your survival, you achieve self-sovereignty. You realize that your internal happiness doesn't have an off switch controlled by anyone else's opinion. That's the feeling of true, unshakable happiness alone. You are uncancelable. A vibe check from the outside doesn't matter when you already passed your own internal vibe check. Now, let's talk about the secret sauce. Value boredom. Most people are terrified of boredom. They instantly reach for their phone. Why? Because boredom is the breeding ground for creativity and deep thought. I'm telling you to do nothing with purpose. High-value boredom is scheduling 30 minutes a day to just sit, walk, or stare out the window with zero input. When you force this silence, your mind does one of two things. It either starts processing the emotional backlog you've been running from, or it starts creating solutions to your hero project. This is where billion-dollar ideas are born. Stop treating your mind like a dumping ground for endless content and start treating it like a precision instrument that requires calibration. We've built the fortress of self-respect. Now let's talk about the ultimate payoff. Authentic connection. The world teaches you that you master relationships by chasing people. The truth is, you master relationships by first mastering your absence. When you are genuinely happy alone, when you are not looking for a human being to be your emotional utility, you fundamentally change the quality of people you attract. Neediness repels. Completeness attracts. If you have unresolved loneliness, you don't attract partners. You attract hostages people. You unconsciously trap into validating yourself. When you're operating from a place of self-sufficiency, you attract people who are also operating from a place of sufficiency. This is how you build a value tribe. Now, for the ultimate gut check. Think about your closest connections right now. Ask yourself this one question on the ultimate relationship test to determine if the connection is built on fear or love. If this person disappeared tomorrow, would my life feel empty? Or would my mission feel paused? Let that sink in. Most people have to say, my life would feel empty. That's a dependency. If your answer is, my mission would feel paused, but I would continue, that is the sign of a sovereign person. That means your life force is independent of their existence. You stop being a beggar and become a partner. The moment you become happy alone, you become highly selective. You start choosing to spend time with people who challenge you, inspire you, and respect your need for solitude. You start protecting your quiet time like it's your most valuable asset, and the people who respect that boundary are the ones who are worthy of your time. Everyone else, they get filtered out. You are not meant to be a hermit, but you are meant to be exclusive. The next part reveals why this exclusive approach is the ultimate key to professional success. This sounds deep, but it's real talk. Your most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. When you start treating yourself like your own best friend, your own mentor, your own hero, you become the tribe of one. You become your own CEO, your own coach, and your own unwavering advocate. This identity shift from needing acceptance to commanding respect is what the competition never dares to talk about. Their business is selling you quick fixes. Our business is selling you a permanent, high-power mindset. It's about ensuring that no matter what storms hit your life, you have the ultimate anchor, a deep, unshakable satisfaction with your own company. Now, we need to address the deep-seated cultural lie about loneliness. It's what keeps millions of people stuck in the middle. We're going to use this truth to shock the audience. The final, shocking truth that separates the truly successful from the perpetually stuck. Loneliness is not a bug in the system. It's a feature. You heard me. It's not a mistake you need to fix. It is the necessary friction required for every person who is meant to achieve something truly epic. Something that makes the crowd stop and stare. Think about it. When you pursue greatness, when you commit to a mission that is bigger than your social circle, bigger than your job, bigger than the vibe check of your peer zoob, naturally become an outlier. The majority of people live in the safe, crowded middle. They seek comfort. They seek consensus. When you step off that path, when you walk the road, less traveled do get lonely. Not because you're a loser, but because you outgrew the room. You're operating at a frequency that others can't match, and that isolation is proof you're on the right path. It is the cost of admission to the elite club of hyper. Every legend who ever changed the game, the entrepreneur, the visionary, they all spent time in the quiet room of creation. They weren't lonely. They were simply focused. They had to sacrifice temporary comfort to gain eternal distinction. So, here's the ultimate mind flip. Embrace the loneliness as validation. Every time you feel that heavy silence, smile. That's the universe confirming you're almost there. Keep going. You are not like the rest. The pain of solitude is a compass pointing toward your highest potential. Never trade your purpose for company. Never trade your self-respect for convenience. This video wasn't about surviving solitude. It was about weaponizing it. It was about turning your downtime into your competitive advantage, so you can walk into any room and command it. Because your value comes from the inside, you now have the code to be truly happy alone. The journey starts when the video ends. Next move. You need the final launch protocol. Over the next 72 hours, you must execute these 3 things. 1. Create a no-fly zone. Define a specific 60-minute window every single day where your phone is on airplane mode and you are engaging in high-value boredom. Sit still. Process. Create. Protect this time like your life depends on it. 2. Audit your top 5. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with, then next to their names. Write this. Do they expand my mission or distract me from it? Be ruthless. If they distract you, immediately put distance between you. 3. Define your one thing. What is the single most important task on your hero project that you've been putting off? Do it now. Do it alone. Let the isolation fuel the focus. Complete this task before you seek social comfort. Go get after it. Turn off the distractions. Start your hero project. Embrace the silence. Live by the ultimate truth. Your loneliness is proof you are destined for greatness. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of potential. If you're real about building a life of internal power, you know what to do next. Hit the subscribe button right now. We only deal in blueprints for greatness.